to vaccinate or not to vaccinate?
That's
pretty much that is the question. Would it be wise to vaccinate yourself, your children, and do you think it's a good idea?
Inspired by the Bill Gates calling for mandatory world vaccinations for the COVID.
With several billion members, the human race is divided in two distinct sexes, male and female. While men are simple creatures requiring only the most rudimentary of emotional needs to be satisfied, there is a subgroup classified as the nice guy, a dying breed of chivalrous, romantic, domesticated gentlemen whose qualities are desired by the opposite sex. Allegedly. However, they are dismissed, scoffed, and confined in such concepts as the bestie, work husband, and the dreaded friend zone.
You don't think this is a little bit too dramatic? Just let it happen.
Joe and Jason are the last of the nice guys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode. I sound like a really boring person. Hey guys, well, that just sounds too nerdy. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of The Last of the Nice Guys. We are The Last of the Nice Guys, and my name is Joe. With me is...
My name is Jason.
And we are, again, The Last of the Nice Guys. That was a very good intro. Wow.
It was a good intro, but you also sound like one of those televangelists. So next time I want you to be like, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens." This is Jason from Last of the Nice Guys. You might as well. That's the tone you're giving off, you know. So, all right.
God,
Joe, it's always a pleasure to have the mic with you. I'm really excited for today's topic. What are we talking about today? This is your topic.
Before I get into the title of the topic and actually the actual topic, let me just first point out two things. One, I have very poor internet right now, so you might see or hear me break up. So that's one thing. And another thing is neighbor. So yeah, pretty much. So, and the neighbor next door from me is blasting some really good music, but unfortunately, since we're doing a live broadcast, it kind of gets in the way of what we're talking about. So we're gonna keep.
It's the soundtrack to today's episode. It's some Collie Buds or whatever.
Yeah, it's some sort of soca reggae type thing, but I like it. I'm
not complaining about it. What I am saying though is that you or don't live in an apartment. I'm making very clear. It's not an apartment. It's not even a connected house, and it is that loud. It means they're blasting it that loud across, not too far, but across the other house, and it's that loud that I can even hear the bass through my speakers, my headphones, and I think that's just utterly ridiculous. And I think you froze. Did you freeze? Okay, good.
No, I just kind of moved the mouse, but I keep seeing the poor internet connection on top. Again, if you see me freeze or stop talking, it's not my fault. It's just that I'm not away. I'm not near.
Why don't you get near the box?
I don't want to, because if I do, it'll become a huge issue. But anyway, okay. So this is today's topic is about to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. That is the question. So we're pretty much discussing as parents, as a single parent, or even as a adult, or if you don't even have kids at all, would it be wise to vaccinate yourself, your children? And do you think it's a good idea? I can pretty much talk about this topic for about a good 3 hours or more.
You can. And of course this is inspired by the Bill Gates calling for mandatory world vaccinations for the COVID. And this is, of course, where this is inspiring us. Before we get to today's topic, though, we actually have 3 comments that we need to get to. Two of them. Two of them are more than likely spam, but I kept them anyway because I think they're funny because this is something that, like a little epidemic. And one is a real comment. So first from Chaz site, Chazite. I don't know Chaz site.
Oh no.
I'm no. It's her name is Chastity. I know her personally, but I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Chazite. Chazite. This is in relation to the gaslighting and the importance of intimacy in a relationship. It's a very interesting point of view. However, I feel like there needs to be a female involved in this discussion to give the point of view from a woman's perspective. Otherwise, it comes across as biased. And I agree. We've gotten this comment a couple of times from our female listeners because we actually do have a lot more female listeners than we do have male. I have broken down the analytics. It's actually very interesting. So they must be like preparing a petition to pick at us. But no, I agree. I agree. But the thing is, though, is that I'm not gonna say that's not double negative. That's not the point. It is supposed to be biased. It is supposed to be one-sided because, again, I've made it very clear that there's enough material out there that bashes men, disproportionate amount of material, unbalanced amount of material that bash men. Is not enough that reveals the women's role in this cycle. So that's the reason why it does come off as bias, and why I don't mind if it comes off as bias. Two guys talking crap because, we're trying to add a drop in the bucket to kind of balance the scales. Do you want to respond to this comment, Joe?
I mean, she kind of has a point though. At the end of the day, she has a point, but
she does have a point. That's
a point.
That's if we didn't intend on it being biased, and technically we kind of do intend on it being biased. I mean, even in the description, I write Joe and Jason discuss the trials and tribulations bestowed upon us by the opposite sex. That's literally part of the description of the show. So
I mean, because we have. I mean, in my opinion, not to sound like an over like an egotistical jerk, but we have a right to somewhat be biased a little bit. In a lot of ways, if you think about it.
No, we and you collectively, in our experience with women, we have the right, in our opinion, to be biased and to express our opinion without needing a fair and balanced response, or even looking at the other side. But I get it. And I made it very clear, I'm not on my high horse. I'm not saying that we are absolutely right, but we are. But what I am saying, though, is that there's always a plan to do a battle of the sexes. I do want that. Chaz, Chase, if you want to come join the battle of the sexes, you're more than welcome to. Or anybody else, any other females there. Again, we don't mind. We feel how we feel. And we're going to speak our mind. You can speak your mind too. And you don't have to worry about, you probably don't care, but you don't have to worry about our feelings or opinions. This is the point. If we're putting ourselves out there, we're willing to ridicule and the responses on purpose. So bring it on.
And we pretty much have, we have about like maybe, I think there's like another girl that is friends with my fiance that actually wants to go on as well.
Right.
So we have like we have if she wants to go ahead, that's two right there. I have another guy that I know that wants to go on. So we're getting there to a point where we have a good solid core group of
right. So we're waiting for the critical mass. Once we get the critical mass, then it's all about scheduling and everything, and getting everybody on good internet, Joe, and sorry, and just letting it happen. It'll be amazing. So let's see what happens. But thanks for the comment. Another comment that was on our Instagram, of course. That's Last Nice Guys. So that's Last Nice Guys. Check that out. Of course, all our social media is at the end of every episode. That's why we don't throw it in there in the episode, but it's exactly from our Instagram at Last Nice Guys. So the next comment comes from episode 14, our video recap on YouTube, and it comes from Isabella Ryan. Okay, again, I think this is spam, but I'm gonna read it. Trust is like a crystal glass that once it is broken, it is hard to put the pieces back together, and when you try to fix them, you might get punctured and get hurt. The crystal glass would never be the same, no matter what that is, and why it's important to apply wisdom when dealing with our partners. And I believe smartness is essential in any relationship. I got help from, here we go, Cybertech Tracker, as he helped clone my cheating husband's phone, and I got access to all this stuff. So I of course deleted this because I don't I don't subscribe to this nonsense, and it's funny that this person, because none of my other productions do I get any weird spam like this, but it's funny. And
Society has become so scared
yes,
and
absolutely,
nervous that we have to resort to ads like this. Like
yes.
that's how paranoid people are
And
nowadays.
God forbid whoever saw these comments before I even got to delete them, because it's clearly spam, and we don't we made it very clear that if you have
You don't
suspicion.
encourage spam.
Right. No, no, no. We don't encourage spam. We don't endorse stalking or sneaking or stealing or getting into your people's stuff or privacy. You know what we've been saying forever is that if you have suspicion with your significant other, then you either talk to them about it and get a resolution, or if you can't get over it, you walk away from the relationship. You have no business being with the relationship. So to go far as getting hacking tools, it's too much. It's not necessary. You just don't be there.
That sounds kind of a little bit
But there's another one from Joyce Rouse. This is on our relationships. What is a toxic relationship? Video recap. It goes, I've always believed in love to cure many things, but it only
While he's
fed.
reading that, it's like why he's reading that.
Go for that. Go for that. Um, I have always believed in love to cure many things, but I only fed my narcs ego. Weird. It is important to be wise when dealing with a narcissist. Oh, okay. And I'm glad that dark web pro hack helped clone my wife's phone. See what I'm saying? Look at this bullshit. And I'm not going to read any more because, of course, this is the crap I'm talking about. They even give you a WhatsApp number. They call it, you know what I'm saying? They give you an email address. And I deleted it, of course, as well. But the fact that you've got bots or spam bots or even people just going on these kind of dating discussions and putting this there because they know somebody's listening to this and it's in their feelings and it's going to use the services. And I find it ridiculous. But it's the only show. And I've had relationship talk on my other podcast and I've never got these kind of spams. It's only this particular show. Why? Because we get deep, into these conversations. So that's it. Thanks for the comments. All you spam bots and all you real individuals, by all means, please email us at lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com. There's Facebook, Last of the Nice Guys. Twitter,
Yes.
Instagram, Last Nice Guys. So just, throw it out there. We'll read it. We'll talk it. We'll discuss it. It's fun for us. So without further ado, let's get to today's episode. To vaccinate or not to vaccinate? That is the question.
That is the
This
question.
is inspired by Bill Gates stating that the world may not go back to normal until mandatory vaccinations of COVID-19 are distributed throughout the world. And this has inspired Joe with this topic. Joe, take it away.
So we have covered. Jason and I have similar interest in knowing or discovering the truth of things in the last couple of decades.
Well,
Even
truth
though
is, all right, let's not use truth because truth
Okay.
is some people say it's objective, but I believe truth is
or uncovering the lies.
I
How's
would
that?
say uncovering lies or discovering alternative facts. I don't call it truth anymore. I call it alternative facts or alternative theories or alternative news. Because when you say
Right.
something definitive like truth, people look at you like you're an idiot. But if you tell them no, I'm just a different way of thinking, just a different way of looking at things, they don't look at you quite as stupid. Not that I care, but I care.
Excuse me.
So
Well, that's another thing. The thing also with that, with what you were saying, is that a lot of people like to say how they're anti-vax. They don't want. The thing with me is that I've recently discovered and realized is that I don't think I'm more anti-vax. I'm just anti-stupid. Now the reason why I say that is because there really hasn't been any credible testing or proof to display how safe these things are. And until I get a reliable test that displays how safe they are, then I have no problem with it. But the fact of the matter is, for the past 30 to 40 or even longer years, they have been publicly and literally lying to the public about how safe these things are. And I think I'm jumping right into the topic because I'm not like presenting an introduction, but at the end of the day, I don't think there really needs to be an introduction for a topic like this. To be honest with you, I'm just gonna go right into it like I have been doing for the
Well,
past.
let's go right into it. I mean,
Yeah.
don't pussy around it.
So
Go for it.
yeah.
Or do you want to give some backstory about why you feel the way you feel, or why you feel this topic is important to discuss?
Well, you know what it is? I kind of realized over the course of a couple of years, I'd say about maybe a good 10 years or so, that I've come to discover that they're pushing the agenda so far for people to get these vaccinations, and I'm wondering to myself, like, why are they pushing this? And I understand, like, the way I see it is, why would I want to take advice, medical advice at that, from our government? That's the last.
Well, that's because they're the authority, of course, Joe. You know that they're the authority. They are the ones that are that are the experts. So why wouldn't you?
Gentlemen, is called sarcasm.
No, of course it is sarcasm. But I'm gonna play in this instance. I'm gonna play double standard while agreeing with you on certain cases. But I'm gonna because if it's I don't want it to be like one side where it turns off the audience. Oh my God, this is a trigger warning, by the way. Trigger warning. Trigger warning.
This episode is a huge trigger warning because I don't know how people are going to feel about this.
Right.
But I feel, when I discussed this with my good friend Jason today, I feel as if the more people know about what they're doing to themselves, what they're putting into themselves, or even what they're believing, I feel like if you show them some type of credibility source or information that kind of debunks what they're seeing or hearing, then you could possibly try to turn their way of thinking over. And I'm not. Yeah, it is very optimistic. But this is the reason why I've been getting a lot of negative feedback for years about vaccinations, even from my own family, to be honest with you. But the fact of the matter is that when you criticize and judge and don't do a lick of research when it comes to even looking up the basic ingredients and half of these things, if not all of them, there's no reason for me to. Because if you sit here and say, well, you know what, these vaccinations have been completely safe because the CDC says it. The CDC, but mind you, the CDC website displays all the ingredients for every vaccination. Please look up and define every ingredient that they have in these vaccinations. And please tell me, if I gave you a spoonful of each one of these ingredients, would you take it? Because I guarantee you the answer would be no. So why would you want to inject it in you? So these are the questions that I kind of like ask people that want to get these things because they're so scared of getting sick or getting a disease. Now, now, Jay, me and you are not medical people. We're not scientists. We're not even close to any of that. But we do.
Yes, we're not medical professionals.
Yeah, we're not medical professionals.
But we do have a brain.
Exactly. And we use our critical thinking skills to look up certain things to see what is this, what is that, why is this, why is that. So we want to know the truth about certain things. Now, I know for a fact, which I don't even have to ask you or even find out, is that you probably look up certain things on your own to find out what it is. I mean, you have two kids. You have two children, especially for people who have children like me and you. You want to know what's being put in our children's bodies, what the ingredients are, why they're doing it, etc., etc. So, with that being said, I had recently stumbled upon one of the vaccinations that our children in this day and age would usually get. It's called the Hep C vaccination. And we usually get that during when they're first born, the first couple of weeks. For you, Jason, it's probably been a long time since you even remember that because your kids are damn near teenagers.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, what I found out was pretty interesting and weird. A video that I recently watched from a doctor who has put out a video, pretty much a 15-minute, 60-minute video of him talking about how different countries are now suing or have been suing people like Robert, what the hell's his name? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or Sr.
Right. RFK.
Right. So he's been fighting the good fight to have vaccinations not to be tested the proper way or be tested, period, because they haven't tested them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And be published to the public in a positive way where they can understand what's being in them, or to not have them. He's pretty much he's doing the research, he's doing all the work and the clerical work to actually make sure that we, the people, have these vaccinations in a way where it's safe for us. Because right now he's providing information that makes us that proves that it's not. None of them are. Not any of the 62, 70 vaccinations that children get are safe. So he's making provisions and he's putting making pretty much giving proof. This video, one of the comments that he says, this doctor, he shows a paper that states that basically one of the battles have been won, not the war, but one of the battles have been won in regards to the governments of countries actually suing CDC, the WHO, all these health, big pharma, suing them. So it's not like they won the war, but it's something as a start. So anyway, one of the statements he says is he's like, why would you pretty much give your kid the Hep C vaccination? He's like, usually the Hep C contains ingredients and stuff that you would give to someone who pretty much, AKA, is a crackhead, someone who pretty much has sexual diseases. Why is a child that just was born have to worry about sexual diseases and needles being thrown in him with drugs? That's really that important that a child needs to have that? And it made me wonder, it's like, that, and I had to look it up and see, and it was true. Like, why would a child need a Hep C or Hep B shot at like 1-2 weeks old? He's not engaging in any of these activities. So right. This is one of the reasons where I feel like this topic needs to be explained. And the whole series about autism, how it doesn't affect it. They already proved that it does. A serious, very serious case of autism.
Yes, they have some studies that link vaccinations to autism and muscular dysphagia, something like that. I don't know what it's called. And back to what you're saying, because it's funny. One of the newest things that they were recommending was the HPV vaccine for kids as young as 10. And when that first came out, this is why I know it was serious, because it's one of the few times that me and my kid's mom were on the same page saying, "No, are they fucking ridiculous? What do you mean? Why are you giving HPV vaccines?" Now, of course, they said that especially for girls, that it helps prevent cancer, because HPV supposedly, if you get HPV, human papilloma virus, it increases your risk of cancer, allegedly. Right. So that was one thing. But for me, I had 2 boys, so I didn't. No, they never got it because I said no, it's definitely unnecessary. And what you're saying is true. There has been questions about the merits of bombarding a baby that's just developing with so much drugs and so much what is it, like mercury and weird concoctions.
I can read you a few right now, Jay.
Yeah, to bombard their immune system as a young child with all these chemicals. What is the merits of that, and how is it that that's a good thing when the body is still developing? It's like saying, if alcohol and drugs can stunt a child's growth, what about the chemicals in these vaccines, concentrated, being injected directly into the body? Is that not going to have a negative effect? In addition to, of course, whatever immunizations. Let's be reasonable. There's very few drugs on the over the counter, and almost no drugs, or I could say no drugs definitively, that you get a prescription for that don't have side effects. They all have side effects. Exactly. Every single over-the-counter drug has side effects. You don't want to get heartburn? Great, take this pill, but just know you might have anal leakage, vomiting, shortness of breathing, heart stoppage. These are weird. I asked the audience, please listen to the next drug. Ignore the flashy smiles on the screen. Listen to what they're saying. The drug treats one symptom, and you potentially accept the risk of getting 10 to 15 side effects to treat one symptom. So I'm asking you guys, when you hear that just for an over-the-counter drug for an adult or a child that is developed or developing, imagine what side effects exist in vaccinations coming from the same drug companies making that pill.
Yeah.
Your heartburn, that's gonna give you
Yeah.
anal leakage.
Yeah. And now it's tough. It's especially tough if you plan on having kids right now in 2020.
Exactly.
Now they provide 70 vaccinations that your child needs to have between the age of birth all the way up until God knows when.
Could you imagine what that's doing to the body? Could you
You
imagine?
you have yeah. This is something again. I'm not considering myself an anti-vax. I'm not. I'm anti-stupid because and the reason and I know it's funny because
You're okay. Then you're not anti-vax, but you're a vaccination skeptic.
yes, but and the reason why I say anti-stupid is because in plain sight, you can literally read the ingredients to all of these vaccinations, and I guarantee you, again, if I gave an individual, and this is specific to our audience, if I gave you a spoonful of each of those ingredients, I guarantee you all the money in the world, you would not take a fucking lick of them because there's no point in putting that in your body. Now, mind you, I can read you at least 4 ingredients right off the bat. Carcinogens, toxins, aborted fetal cells, animal DNA, parasites, antibiotics, fungi, insecticides, disinfectants. I mean, the list goes on and on. And that's just literally 5 or 6 of them. So, like, come on, Jay. Like, why in the world would you want to go ahead and like even remotely try to put that in you?
It's not just that though. Why would you want to put that? Why would you want to put that in you without asking questions? Right. You know, I read a story where this dude said, "Listen, I'm not getting this vaccination," and the doctor said, "Well, you need it," and he asked the doctor, "Well, can you explain what's in it?" And the doctor couldn't. He said his doctor could not explain the ingredients in the vaccination. All he knew is that it was a vaccine for this, and that's about it. But he couldn't explain what was in it, how it worked. None of that. What does that mean? When was the last time you asked your doctor before they stuck a needle in your child or in yourself, "Hey, how does this vaccination work? Like, what is inside of this?" And get a glazed over blank look on their face because that's not part of the medical establishment.
Because
they don't because they don't know and they're not they don't seek to learn it themselves and they're not taught it. Just like family doctors, physicians aren't taught nutrition on purpose. They're not taught nutrition. They're not taught anything about preventative medicine. They only know how to treat symptoms, treat situations on the spot. They don't help you prevent it. They're patchwork. That's legit. Your doctor. That's why they have to send you to a specialist, to a nutritionist specialist or whatever, because they're not PCPs. Family doctors, family medicine has no nutritional training. Fine, at least not part of their training. If they want to do it themselves, that's great. And don't get me started on holistic medicine.
Exactly. No, unbelievable. Yeah. I was about to say that too. Like, holistic medicine is a whole nother topic. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. So yeah, like I also want to piggyback what you said in that when you do go to your doctors and you have there's something called the Constitution, right? And there are certain there are certain laws as citizens that we as citizens can still uphold. Now the thing is that the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, even though those are they may seem outdated, but they're not. They are laws and rules that withstand for the American people that will pretty much withhold us and help us throughout the end of time until, I guess, I don't know, a huge something happens. But that hasn't happened yet, or at least we're not sure yet because we seem like we're on the verge of it right now. Right. But we still have that to use as I wouldn't say way out, but as a way to basically say to our doctors, look, this is not happening. I'm not putting any of these vaccinations in my kid or our kids. And you do have the right to say no. Now, according to updated information and news of this day, this right, like literally right now, they're trying to push the fact that you cannot say no and that you will be forced to have it. I don't know how that's working out. I've been hearing rumors and back and forth of the world literally waking up saying that we're not doing this. This is crimes against humanity. One specific person, Mr. Bill Gates, is actually trying to push this, as Jason mentioned earlier. But again, the world is starting to see because of the way our technology works, especially in 2020 as opposed to back then in the 90s or early 2000s. We have more advanced knowledge, and people pass around more information, and more so now than ever. So we're able to pretty much target and pass information that people find. I mean, you have, I'm not really for this, but you have hackers like hacking databases and information, top secret information that you won't hear in the public or media, that we happen to find out or they post to the public on the internet, like 4chan and certain Google sites, and then you get all this updated information and facts, and you're like, holy shit, like this is really happening. This is really what was said. This is really what's going on, and you won't hear any of this in the mainstream media because they're not going to put this. They're not going to put vaccinations are bad for you in the mainstream media.
Oh, of course not. Of course
they're not. This is common sense.
It'll never happen.
It's never going to happen. They're not going to put these things in the mainstream media because they're not going to allow you to have a voice or reason. They want you to strictly go right through the tunnel vision and say, look, you're doing this because it's safe, because we say it's safe. There's no reasoning, there's no questioning, nothing. And that's the problem that I have, especially with this whole vaccination topic, is because I think, not even I think, but millions of other people in the world have already witnessed and seen how unsafe they are. Another big example, Jay, I don't know if you heard about this, but India and parts of Africa have took the polio vaccine, or one of the vaccines, and literally, I think in India, from what I understand, I have the information in my phone, India, is actually manufactured and presented by none other than Bill Gates.
Yep, the Gates
India,
Foundation. Yep.
Yeah,
Bill
India happened to.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Wow.
Yeah. So India happened to. They received the vaccine, one of the vaccinations, I believe it was polio, and I think a couple of 100,000 kids ended up being disfigured or disabled, like literally born. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Because it's kind of an unwritten rule or an unspoken understanding that Africa and the third world, but mostly Africa, is the testing ground for new vaccinations, for new potent vaccinations. You really can't find any mainstream media that's gonna corroborate that, but it's kind of like the unspoken understanding that the first vaccines, they roll them out in Africa, and they, for free, like it's some big great thing, just to test the side effects on people before they give it to the advanced world, even before they give it to the third world. So I'm not surprised about that at all, especially in Africa. Come on out, those people are exploited for everything.
Yeah.
So it's continent, by the way, not country, continent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. So it's definitely something that I have to move. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second as I place my laptop here. It's definitely something that should be talked about amongst everybody. And one of the quotes that I actually have to read in regards to this topic this is from Alexander Legmore. I can't pronounce his last name. He's the former chief epidemiologist for the CDC. And he says, and I quote, "I would not take the flu vaccine. My wife does not take the flu vaccine. No one should take the flu vaccine. And in fact, when I was head of the CDC, I wanted to make that as a public statement, and I refused to say that you should take the flu vaccine. That's why I'm now a professor at Harvard."
Wow.
So this was a former chief
epidemiologist. Yeah, epidemiologist
for the CDC.
Yep.
So, certain things like this you have to consider. You have to question. Like, come on. You have to question. So, I mean, another thing, I found this again, and I've been doing the research and looking up certain things just for curiosity purposes. I happen to find out what's in a basic flu shot. I'm pretty sure you've heard of the flu shot, as we all have. So I'm going to read and pronounce these as much as I can. And here it goes. Thimerosal, hydrocortisone. I cannot pronounce this word, but it's cetyltrimat. phenethylaminium, bromide,
See,
polysorbite 20, polysorbite 80, bacular virus and cellular DNA, beta-propiolactone, gelatin, sodium deoxychlorate, canine kidney cell protein, and DNA. Wow. Triton X100, egg protein, gentamicin, sulfate, formaldehyde, neomycin, and more. And then the quote says on the bottom, if you wouldn't ingest it, don't inject it. So
it's funny. This is what's in these things that we're shooting to ourselves, and many of you can't pronounce it any better than Joe can. I mean, that's legit. That's one thing. Is that how can you ingest, and this goes with for our food as well. How can you ingest or inject anything into your body that you can't pronounce? That's a problem, you know. If you can't pronounce it, why are you letting it go into your body? And don't get me wrong, I got my shots. Joe got his shots, but of course, you know, and they do it. But you know why they do it when we're young, right? Because it doesn't give us the ability to say yes or no. By the time that we potentially become informed adults, it's too late. It's already happened to us. And all we can do then is maybe visit it upon our kids. But then the institution that they're in, you know, you can potentially say, well, no, if you don't do vaccinations, they can't come to school. You know, I know that college now, you have to present your vaccinations to college before you go to college. I didn't do that when I was in college originally. I don't remember having to bring in my vaccinations. Maybe they did, but I don't think so. Why does it matter if you're vaccinated or not? You know, here's what I'm trying to say, and I'm being very, very clear. Why do you care who's vaccinated or not? Vaccination, by definition, gives you your body immunity, correct? So,
correct.
Joe, if you're vaccinated and I'm not, if you get sick, but you shouldn't be able to get sick, correct?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So that's what I'm saying. Is that why are we making vaccinations mandatory? Why are we giving people a hard time about vaccinations? Vaccinations are for you specifically. So as long as you are vaccinated, you're cool with that. You shouldn't be worried about who isn't vaccinated, because whatever they are not vaccinated again, it shouldn't affect you because you are vaccinated and you are immune. That's it. Game over. The discussion is over. It's a personal preference for everybody, and it should not be mandatory. It should not be required for anybody. So let's go with COVID-19 now. Bill Gates declares that, and I feel like he's holding the world hostage, where he's saying we
Absolutely.
will go back to normal again until everybody is vaccinated for COVID-19. Correct? Fine.
Correct.
You make it mandatory. Here's the thing: if you start giving out the vaccination, those who choose not to get vaccinated, if they get sick, that's their own business. But those who do get vaccinated have nothing to worry about. That's it. It's over and done with. You get vaccinated, you're fine. You don't have to worry about who's get vaccinated or not. It should be a choice. It should not be mandatory in any way, shape, or form. That's what I'm saying. If you're vaccinated, you're supposed to be immune. So don't tell me, say, well, we need to get vaccinated so it's safe for me and you. No. If you're vaccinated, it's safe for you. If I'm vaccinated, it's safe for me.
Right.
My vaccination does not prevent you from not getting sick or from getting sick. It has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Vaccination is for the body itself, based on what you claim that it does. It's immune. So in theory, if you want to get vaccinated, you should give a flying fuck what it feels, because you're good. You're covered yourself. So why is everybody up in arms about this?
The idea of even getting a vaccination to have the virus or disease in you in itself should be absurd and stupid, because at the end of the day,
well, they claim that the virus they're injecting you is not a live culture. It's not technically alive. So you're learning. And I've never understood this. They're injecting a dead.
Say it.
They're injecting a dead disease into you, and somehow, just by seeing it, your body attacks it and learns. How does your body know what a live disease will do if it's only studied the dead disease? That's like telling me if and this is really broad, but that's like saying that the difference between a live body and a live human body and a dead human body, these are organisms more complex, are the exact same thing. If you can understand a dead human body, then you can understand a live human body, how it works.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
I don't believe that's true, because a live human body is moving, it's in motion. And you'll see the same parts, but how do you know what these parts actually do look like and actually function in a dead human body than a live human body? I don't
Right.
understand, and I don't think it makes any sense to me that injecting a dead or benign disease into you somehow gives you immunity. How does your body know how that disease is going to interact with your body or replicate or what it attacks? It's
Yes.
just floating
Yeah.
there dead.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I don't get it either. It's weird. It's weird to me. And don't forget also, please don't forget also that the one of the, I think when I read before the flu vaccination, it has, or one of the vaccinations, if not more than the flu vaccination, has dead fetus cells in it. Please understand. No, I'm not making this up. This is one of the ingredients in one of the vaccinations. Why?
Where are they getting dead fetus cells?
What? Where and why? I just want to
No,
know.
no,
I want to know why. I want to know why and where are they getting dead fetus cells
they're making
from?
us all cannibals, I guess, making it all.
Like,
No, I'm
what?
serious. If you're injecting dead, is this dead human fetus cells? Like, what kind of fetus cells are we talking about?
No, we're talking about dead human fetus, like
What?
babies. Yes, this was one of the ingredients in the vaccinations. Okay, one of the ingredients in the vaccinations. Now, again, mind you, the CDC has a website. I have a link on my phone that gives you the ingredients to every vaccination pretty much out there or known to man. I cannot. I spent about nearly 2 hours on this, or yeah, nearly 2 hours, um, looking up, finding out, because some of these things I do, like I was trying to read certain words before. I don't know what the fuck they are. Again, I'm not a medical expert.
Exactly.
So I was trying to look this up and spent nearly 2 hours trying to figure out and find out if any of the ingredients actually are somewhat beneficial to you. And if they are beneficial, right? If I found some that were beneficial, can you receive them from other sources? Like, let's just say, I'm sorry, like, sarcasm is about to come. Fruits or vegetables, or maybe fucking like something that you can possibly inject or take food wise, other than taking an injection. I found none. In all the 70 vaccinations that children are supposed to get in 2020, I did not find one ingredient that actually signifies that it is safe to put into your body. Okay, not one. And again, this is why I date back to the beginning of the episode where I said I'm not an anti-vax. I'm just anti-stupid. I'm not anti. I'm anti-stupid. I just don't
He is
agree.
a vaccination skeptic.
Jason will keep saying that, but I'm gonna keep saying anti-stupid.
And here's the thing, and I totally agree with you, is that it's common sense to want to ask questions. It's common sense to inquire. It's human nature to be inquisitive, in my opinion.
Right.
And the fact that you ridicule or call somebody a nut or dismiss them or call them a conspiracy theorist because they're questioning the status quo is basically saying that you are anti-human nature.
Right.
So that's just me. That's how I feel about anything. That being said, I've understood that if you come at people saying you're a dumbass for not questioning things, right? You're not gonna get through somebody like that. You're not gonna get somebody to open up their mind. It's hard to let them open up their mind, period, about anything. Let alone saying, "Well, I'm just anti-stupid." They'll just say, "Okay, you know what? You're a fucktard," and walk away. So that's the only reason why I'm saying I dumb down. Well, I don't dumb down, but I don't even sugarcoat things, but I give it a more of a neutral term. So
Exactly.
So that's why I say.
Fine.
Vaccination. Anti-vax means you're against it. Ooh, it's negative. No. Adversarial. No. But a vaccination skeptic only means that you question the merits because you don't know. And there's a difference between knowledge, empirical knowledge, what you know, and what you're taught. And a lot of what you think you know is what you've been told, what you've been taught. There's not a lot that you actually know for yourself, that you have firsthand knowledge. You can back up what you're told. For instance, your sex. You're told what your sex is, but you can back it up. You can see, okay, well, this is what your sex is, and you can go check yourself. Okay, cool, that looks about right. So you can verify and know that you are a man or a woman, or a male or female based upon your sex, as it is defined by the scientific journals or whatever, because you can check yourself. But that's one of the few examples. how to run a car. Yeah, you can probably fact check that. You can do these, but certain things you just can't. Certain things that scientists say you cannot check yourself.
No,
You
you
have to,
can't.
you have to go on blind faith. Well, you can if you have the equipment or the time or the disposition. Most people don't have that time. Most people don't have access to that kind of equipment or that kind of understanding, or what even doesn't even have access to the education to learn that. So you're going on blind faith based on what the experts say. And I think I've said this before in a podcast. Have you ever questioned who the experts are? What are their names? What are their credentials? Where have they studied? What grades did they get?
Yeah.
How far have you researched who these experts are before you accept their word as infallible, as a law, as a stat, as a fact? Because you don't know what you think you know, and
Right.
that's the
Right.
only thing that I'm trying to explain to our audience when it comes to
Right.
these trigger warning topics. Is that, remember, you don't know what you think you know. You're told, you've been instructed, you've been taught.
Yeah. The
All
question is, if you're told, are you going to follow,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, blindly, or are you going to go ahead and try to see if what you're told is actually credible or accurate? You know, and not to cut you off, Jay. I'm just
Right.
I want to also point out what you were saying as well. Perfect sums up. Another great example is this is not really per se about the vaccinations, but just to throw in a tangent right here, like I don't know if people in the our viewers have been looking at the COVID-19 briefings that happen every day. The guy who pretty much is, I personally like him. I think he's a scum of the earth, fucking Dr. Fauci. He back in March when it started said that isolation, being in your home is the best way to avoid blah 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 blah. All this nonsense about how you have to stay at home, to prevent this bullshit virus to pretty much get you.
Right.
Now, literally today, if not yesterday, I think it was yesterday, had a briefing that said being at home is pretty much sums up, he said, not a good idea. Staying indoors is not a good idea. If you're following and you care about what truly is going on, or you have a sense of like, or if you're that type of person that just questions things, you would probably like to find out, wait a minute, this man I've been listening to on YouTube or news just told me in March that it'd be safe and the best way possible to avoid this virus is to stay indoors. Now we're hitting May, close to June. You're telling me that staying indoors is pretty much not a good idea. It's not going to help.
Did they explain
So
why? Did they
which
explain
one is?
why it's not a good idea? Because I know why. But did they explain why?
According to, yeah, I know. I was about to tell you right now. According to, let me see if I find it on my cellular device. I have it over here. Let me just.
I can get into it real quick if you want me to.
Yeah, I have the. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. As I look for it,
Basically,
'cause
what
I
they're
have
saying is that our body's immune system is very it's balanced, it's careful. But basically, what builds our immune system is bacteria, exposure to bacteria, to cultures.
Oh, I found it. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
I found it.
You got it. You wanna do it?
I was just gonna say that Fauci was saying how staying closed too long could cause irreparable damage, quote unquote. So it can cause irreparable damage if you stay indoors for too long. So pretty much what you were saying, what you were about to say.
Right. So basically, what it's saying is that our immune system requires consistent bombardment by foreign bodies, by pathogens, by bacteria, by viruses, stuff like that, and that by staying indoors and only being around your own stuff, you actually are weakening your immune system because your immune system is becomes complacent. There's nothing to fight, nothing new invading your body. Every time you step outside, there is a pathogen apparently bombarding your body. You don't know it, and that's like it's tantamount to working out a muscle. It's like your immune system is a muscle. If you're not working it out, it becomes weak and complacent, and then when you step outside, the common cold is gonna flatten your ass because you have been inside and you've been only subjected to your own air, your own surroundings.
Exactly.
And so
no sunlight, no air, nothing.
Exactly. Sunlight too, the vitamin, there's a D from sunlight. So
Yeah.
basically what they're saying is that this quarantine has another effect, a negative effect, a dare I say a side effect to it that would be weakening the
Perfect.
system. And then when they open back up the country, you're going to get a whole bunch of people getting sick that they can A, blame on COVID if they wanted to, or B, you have a whole nother situation now because now all these weak immune systems are going back outside now, and they're all gonna sneeze and cough or whatever, and you're weak from it. You're now building up muscle memory for your immune system.
Yeah.
You're gonna be super sick.
Absolutely.
From
Yeah. I guarantee you, it's gonna be so many sick people
Oh, absolutely.
in the next
Absolutely.
month. So many sick people.
And they're gonna call that second. They're gonna call that the second wave of COVID-19, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
You hear it. You heard it here first. There's gonna be a second wave, and that second wave is gonna come. It's gonna be worse than the first wave, and that's gonna be because a good chunk of the population stayed indoors for months. Okay, with minimum to no interaction with people outside, all this distancing stuff, and the social distancing is the same thing because you're staying away from people. You're not catching their pathogens. They're not catching your pathogens. You're not working out your immune system. Nobody's working out their immune system, and they were all wearing masks, which is of course what restricting the oxygen flow, which again also weakens your immune system. And these are all this is not conspiracy theory. This is all things that are being said by medical professionals who are out there who are saying these things that listen,
absolutely.
You're literally restricting your airflow because you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide. And that's why that's another reason. I don't know what it is in New York, but I know down here they say do not drive with a face mask on because
they constantly the thing is that they have been saying this. They have been saying take the masks off, take the gloves off, stop driving with it. And constantly, where I live over at East Flatbush, all you see is nothing but people in broad daylight, in outside, fresh air, wearing masks, wearing gloves. There are certain people out there that even if you tell them the sky is blue, they will literally look at your face and say it's not blue. This is a perfect example of how you tell people masks are not safe for you. If you're in sunlight, you're outdoors, breathe. It's not good for you to be wearing a mask because you're slowly losing oxygen. You're breathing in your own air, which Jason just mentioned. I mean, people have been saying it's not safe. It makes zero sense why you would go ahead and wear a mask in public, let alone in daylight, in fucking sun. You need the sun. We as human beings need the sun to build our immune system and to have a healthy immune system. Why would you? I just don't understand. You know what's funny too? I want to read another quote that I just got. This is a funny one. I posted this on my Facebook. It's a meme. I don't know if the viewers can see it, but it has this is the type of meme that I have.
Read it to us. I can't see it.
It says okay. So the top photo with the woman that's pretty much basking in the sunlight, drinking a nice, what appears to be a nice green drink. It says how to build natural immunity, healthy eating, clean water, exercise, nature, sunlight, conscious breathing, which is funny how they mention conscious breathing. Yeah, isn't it hilarious? Natural health supplements, hugged loved ones, and laughter. These things scientifically and medically have proven to make your body feel good, make you healthier.
You brought up a good point, and they also have made it very clear that fear and stress also weaken your immune system. So let's break it down here. You got people indoors, so they're not getting pathogens. You got people social distancing, they're not getting pathogens. You got people breathing in, restricting their airflow with masks and wearing gloves. And now you're also putting everybody in a climate of fear and stress, which is proven to affect your body and weaken your immune system. People are going to step outside and die. That's how weak that everybody's going to be. And they're going to blame it on COVID-19.
They're going to blame it on that. And I hope the amount of viewers that we have around the world, I hope, and in this country, around the world, etc., I hope they actually pay attention to this episode.
What's
this
up,
is not
Sweden?
something that we're trying to... Exactly. What's up, Sweden? We're not trying to bash the people who... I would never... I take the same stance with religion. I would never make fun of your religion, bash it, or even try to fight it. Nothing of that nature. I'm not that type of person.
Allegedly.
What I'm trying to say, Allegedly, yeah, whatever. Now, I'm trying to explain to you the Jason doesn't like this word, but the truths of certain things that need to be explained, that people, seem to just follow one simple rule, or one simple or one person or persons that usually 9 times out of 10 is not giving you the right advice. And another one of the other quotes that I have also that I keep on spreading constantly actually nowadays is, this is another meme over here, and it says, "I do not wear a mask because semicolon I am not sick. Cloth masks reduce the intake of oxygen. Cloth can't filter out microscopic viruses," big one. "Germs are trapped near nose and mouth," which is pretty much basic fucking science and medical, basic medical information. "No scientific evidence of healthy people wearing masks." That's a big one, because I even looked this up myself, the sentence. There isn't any. Wearing a mask is a sign of submission, and most importantly, it makes you look stupid. Now, that's that's funny to me, because I agree fully with people wearing masks if you work in a hospital. You work in a hospital, you work with patients who are sick in a hospital. I get it. That makes perfect sense. But let me tell you something. When you leave that hospital, you don't see them wearing it before this whole bullshit started. You don't see them wearing it all the way to their car.
Exactly.
You don't see them wearing it all the way to home.
Exactly.
There's a reason they wear these things. And to make matters even worse, there's even a quote on the box of the masks that you people wear.
What does it say? What
That
does it say?
specifically says, it says warning. This is the mask, the blue mask that people wear. Warning. This product is an ear loop mask. This product is not a respirator. I'm sorry. This product is not a. I'm trying to jumble words.
It's the
This product
music.
is not a respirator. Yes, this product is not a respirator and will not provide any protection against COVID-19 or other viruses or containments. Okay, wearing an ear loop mask does not reduce the risk of contracting any disease or infection. User is solely responsible for the selection of this word's cut off, appropriate personal protection equipment for the setting and application. Change immediately if contaminated. If the box is telling you a warning,
because they have to cover themselves, Joe. That's why, because I'm telling you right now, this is the real talk. As and I'm sorry, I don't want to say that, as naive and idiotic as some people are, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna let the media convince them that wearing a mask is gonna prevent from getting sick. So to prevent lawsuits, my dude, they're not doing this to educate the public. It's to cover their own ass. Because I'm telling you right now, if they didn't have this warning on their mask, there'd be such litigation right now saying, "I'm wearing your mask. I was told to wear your mask. It was supposed to protect me, and I got COVID. Now I'm suing you." So they are putting it on their boxes, not to educate the public, to protect their own asses. And that shows you right there. And that's how most of the truth comes out, by the way. It's because the companies or people have to protect their ass. And so that's the reason why they say what they say. Not to inform anybody, but to protect themselves from litigation, because we are a culture that sues everything for any reason.
Exactly, 100%. And this is one of the many reasons why that people across the globe are waking up to pretty much seeing and all these lies and this bullshit that are spewing all over the globe, all over the world, about these things that are not really true, because people have access to this information to tell them the credible, real facts. I mean, you can't fool people no more. The internet is such a powerful tool that you're able to look up any fucking thing you want. So the bottom line is that when you're trying to tell us that wearing a mask is safe in public, when in doubt, it really isn't. You're not fooling anybody. You're only fooling the people who don't care. And that's the bottom line. You're only fooling the people who don't give a shit to look, to do research, or who even care. They just want to go with the flow of water, go about their life, not giving a shit, and wearing their mask while they're driving, fucking passing out and crashing. Because that's apparently what one person did that I found out not too long ago, where I think it was a he or a she, I remember, one of the states happened to wear a mask when they were driving, passed out because of loss of oxygen, or there was not enough oxygen intake, crashed their car, and unfortunately and sadly, they happened to die. This is something that you need to understand. But again, people won't care. And this is the bottom line that we're trying to pretty much display. So, you know, as far as vaccination goes and the topic at hand, along what we're saying, you really need, if you're a parent, you really need to like look deeply into the ingredients of what these things are. Because I guarantee you, again, if you were given these ingredients single-handedly, one by one, I don't think you would take them. And I'm sure as hell don't fucking think you would give them to your kids. So, you know, there needs to be and I'm glad people are fighting the good fight for us.
Right.
Because as far as I can tell, and as far as I can read and watch, there are people that are winning. So if we keep up this consistent this consistent I guess heroism, or whatever you want to call it, the brave that fight for us, that continuously say, look, we're not taking these vaccinations because they're obviously not good for us. You're putting in shit that nobody would want to fucking have. Then it seems to me that we're actually slowly making a voice for ourselves. And I know it's hard to believe because of all the nonsense that's been going around, but it really is true. If you actually do, you'll see. But again, it's a matter of I just found another one that sent to me just now, real quick. It says if it worked and was safe, you wouldn't need to mandate, force, deceive, or threaten those who question it. And it has a needle next to those words, which pretty much is goes right along with what we were talking about when it comes to these vaccinations. So, and that's right. If it worked and it was safe, you wouldn't need to force things. And that goes along with vaccinations, because they are threatening, they're deceiving, and they're forcing this bullshit onto us. So, at the end of the day, it's all a matter of how powerful is your voice. How much do you want to share? If the people who are around you, your family, your close friends, are naysayers and they don't want to believe you, fuck them. And I mean this to the utmost degree, because at the end of the day, if they're not going to believe you, then don't discuss it with them. Let them suffer with the idea of, let them suffer within their little bubble. And I hate to say this because I sound really mean and like really terrible, but at the end of the day, it's tiring. After a while, trying to explain to people how things really are. Not even how things are, how things really are.
I don't want to say that explaining it to them, but just getting them to open their mind just a little bit.
Critical thinking.
Yes, even if you don't want to agree, but just to take a moment and say, okay, I'll hear you out. Let's have a spirited conversation about this. My goal is never to explain anything to anybody necessarily. I explain to them my thought process, but my goal is only ever to open somebody's mind. Open your mind to alternative fact. Open your mind to anything beyond what the media says. Open your mind to the possibility that maybe there's another side to what's going on, and it's just that's where what I used to be about. So, I get what you mean by explaining it, trying to tell them, hey, listen, this is what's going on, but you cannot fully explain what's going on until you can get somebody to adequately open their mind to the possibility that they don't know or not being told everything, and that is the first hurdle. That's the hurdle that you can probably never clear with some people. And I'm not saying don't try. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying it wears you down. Like, I don't try as hard anymore, because I'm just like, what's the point? If people are so they're so sure, they're arrogant, and they're sheep. I don't like to use that term, but you're sheep. You're being herded around by the powers that be. And it's the powers that be that you don't even know. You're following the recommendations, the orders, the mandates of people that you've never even met, somebody that you never even heard of. You're just taking it at face value. And why? I'm not saying go out there and be dissidents and run around and go and be that jerk or that piece of crap person that give somebody a hard time about wearing a mask inside a store. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is though, I will walk into a store, I'll wear the mask, but I'm gonna walk out and say, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. What is this really doing? I'll stand 6 feet apart because I'm not an anarchist, but I'm gonna be standing 6 feet apart, really judging how much is this really making me safe. What is this really doing but making me and you feel suspicious about each other? Because I won't even lie to you, even though
Right.
I don't believe in this nonsense. If you come closer, even I kind of look at you like, well, what are you doing? Why are you coming so close? And I have to be like, yo, it's even in my head, you know. And so it's just the culture of fear, and what fear is able to do to control the masses. And the fact of the matter is, if we don't wake up, we will not. Nothing will go back to normal again. It won't.
It will not.
It
It
won't
will not.
unless
It
you
will
demand
not.
it. Life will not go back to normal again. And some people don't care if life doesn't go back to normal again, as long as life goes back to some semblance of normal, as long as they can go outside again. I told you already that I had another group of friends, and I asked them, and I'll ask you the audience, where do you draw the line when it comes to this COVID-19 nonsense? Will you accept an immunization passport? Will you accept immunization tracking on your phone? Will you accept forced mandatory vaccinations before you're allowed to do anything? Will you accept an RFID chip implanted in you to track you?
Exactly.
These are all things that this is not a conspiracy. This is all things that are being discussed right now, even with Bill Gates' foundation, about what they're gonna do. Because there's one phrase, and I forget which public figure said this, but they said, "Let no good crisis go to waste." Meaning you can pass laws and change things because the public is in fear and they just want protection, and they will give up freedoms. They'll give up liberties. They'll accept anything just for the semblance of security again. And I saw that firsthand when I asked my friends that question, where do you stand? And most of them said, oh, we'll accept anything as long as they can go outside and buy bread. And that crushed my soul so much to hear that.
It's sad.
Because these are smart individuals. I respect them. And for them to say, I'll tolerate pretty much anything as long as they say, okay, we're good to know. I can go to the movies again. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Is what I wanted to say, but I remember sitting there, and you can actually, if you look for the episode, I looked at it and I reviewed the footage, and I looked at my face, and I was like, wow, I looked either sick or pained. I didn't even rebut. I kind of just let them speak, and I just wanted I tried to get them to solidly say, yes, I'll accept these kind of things, but they kind of skirted around it. That was about it. I didn't even give my opinion. I moved on because I was so shocked that they said, yeah, I'll chip me up. Let me go outside. And I was like, but really? For real? Or some of them would dance around and saying, well, we're not there yet, so I can't answer that question. What do you mean? This is why it's called a hypothetical situation. You should be able to answer that question. You know who you are now.
Everything is there in plain sight for you to look up and see.
Exactly. The time is now. You need to know, because when the time hits you, you need to know where you do and do not stand in these things. And you can't tell me, oh, that's so far into the future. No, my man. The technology is here. The discussions are being discussed right now. There are think tanks right now coming up with solutions and ways to convince you people out there to get chipped, to get a digital vaccination immunization, to force you to get stabbed with a needle with God knows what in there for a virus that as of right now we're being told that even if you died from something else, if you tested positive for COVID, that's a COVID death.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's huge. I have several people who I know personally.
So do I. I am
who have had this happen.
Says if you died of a heart attack but you tested positive for COVID-19, the death on the death certificate, it's COVID-19. Not because they just want to inflate the numbers, but because there is a governmental incentive, monetary incentive for each COVID death or each COVID positive case that you report. There's a monetary incentive for the healthcare systems. I found this out. I forgot the government website. There is a monetary incentive for healthcare systems when they present with a COVID death or a COVID patient. They get some kind of compensation.
Yeah, they get. I think it's about 39,000
something like that
per patient that pretty much dies or test positive.
That's what I'm saying. Is that if every institution, there's some corrupt. You're going to tell me there's somebody not in some hospital, some that's corrupt saying, Yo, I can get some I can beef up our books. You're a COVID patient. You're coughing. You're a COVID patient. You're a COVID patient. You're a COVID patient. I would if I was on a board
Die
of
from
directors,
suicide?
I would exactly if I was on board of directors, I'd tell every single say, listen, you will make everybody COVID. Let's get this money, baby. You know, so
Yeah, yeah,
there's an agenda there, folks. There's always an agenda. When you sit here and you see things going on that don't make sense, you have to ask yourself a question: who's benefiting, and for what purpose? You know, you may be wrong. I may be wrong, but there's nothing wrong with asking the question, and that's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing wrong with
exactly.
asking the question.
There's nothing wrong with it. You're
We're,
not doing any harm to yourself.
exactly. We're gonna wrap this up. So, Joe, final thoughts on vaccinate or not to vaccinate? That is the question.
Again, I could talk about this for hours, and unfortunately, both of us, myself and Jason, we have our personal lives and kids to attend to, and but this is the reason why we can't talk for hours about it, but we can. But I want you, the people, to the viewers that are watching, follow my Facebook page, which I usually never give out, but I'm willing to give out this episode and only this episode to pretty much.
What happened? You're breaking up, son.
In regards to what we're talking about.
You were
Sorry,
doing so well.
let me
You
move
were doing so. I mean, you were doing pretty well for the most of the episode, and that now
And then all of a
as we're,
sudden this
as we're,
happened, yeah.
so we're trying to get wrapped up here. Now it's slowing you down. All right,
So-
get ready what happens.
I just wanted to. My final thoughts are this: I want to share my Facebook page with the viewers out there. Jason, of course, Jason follows me already, so he sees what I post and he sees what I'm talking about. And this is the reason why we talk about it day in and day out. But this is something that I want to share with my viewers. My Facebook page is Joe Shanley, Shanley, and it's just look for me on Facebook and just add me as a friend.
Or email us. Email us lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
And Joe, he has access to the email. He'll have a conversation with you, and he'll give you his personal stuff, and he'll send you links. I mean, this man goes beyond me. You know, I get the good stuff from him. That's how much he's into this now.
I have links upon links, and I also have the times about a year or two ago or 3 years ago when they actually hacked the Hillary emails. I have all of that saved. Good stuff that probably would make your stomach turn and twist and probably not be able to sleep at night, because it happened to me 1 or 2 nights where I couldn't really sleep because I was looking through those things. But yeah, I have information and stuff that it's not because I'm like would consider myself a conspiracy theorist. It's more along the lines of I just want to know what's really going on. I'm curious to know what's really going on because I feel like we're not getting told the real news, aka the real truth, the real whatever it is. I feel like we're not getting told it, and people out there, I feel like that don't know what's going on need to know the truth, and this goes along with vaccinations. I feel like if someone like me and others out there that keep on speaking about this constantly and keep on spreading information that helps you learn more, being educated about something that you don't fucking know is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Attacking someone like myself who just wants to educate you, I'm going to look at you and say you're ignorant, you're fucking stupid, because now you're all of a sudden attacking me. I'm just trying to help you gain more knowledge by showing you what I've learned. And if you don't agree with me at the end of the day after all of our conversations, that's fine. But if you do and you happen to want to be interested, then that's great, because now you're starting to see what's really going on. So that's really my final thoughts. I'm very passionate about this stuff.
I can tell.
Yeah, especially about the vaccination topic. From what I've learned the past few weeks or months has been unbelievable. It's kind of opened me up even further than I was before. And I am literally dedicating every single day to sharing as much as I can on Instagram and Facebook. And you can literally ask this man right here because he sees it all the time. So that's it. That's it.
I mean, and I can't add much more to it than he's already said. I mean, my man Joe just basically said, all I can say is that I ask our listeners to keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind. You don't know what you think you know, and that alone should bother you. And I should ask you just ask you a question: what do you know, and what have you been told? What do you know personally? What can you prove personally? What have you been told? And go from there. And think for yourself. Listen to everything, believe only what you can prove. And that's the best way I can say it. And that's how I always, how I teach my kids and how I conduct myself every day. I'm not going to just blindly accept or disagree with everything. But I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to follow, but I'm going to question if I'm able to. And if I have the ability to say no and I don't agree with it, then I won't.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's all I have to say. So
Exactly.
That's it for Last of the Nice Guys.
Last and final comment, Jay. I'm sorry, I just got to say as well. I keep getting new updates really quick before we wrap up. And we end this completely. Our article's title is COVID-19 anxiety turns to COVID-19 rage as we figure out everything the experts got wrong. Boom.
Wow.
Literally, article I just got sent by someone I know on Facebook.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Send that to me too. I want to read that. So all right. Well, thank you guys again for tolerating us and the nonsense that we speak. I really appreciate you if you're listening to the very end. Again, listen to the end of the recording so you know what how to reach us, and of course our social media is all listed at the very end. That's why we don't say it personally. We'd love to hear from you, even if you think we're fucking idiots. Just say it. We'll read it. But then we're gonna ask you why you think that way. So just understand.
Trust me. I had a female for 10, 11 years already that criticizes me all the time, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean that's why I rarely repost anything on my Facebook, because the minute I do, I get responses, and I just don't have it in me to battle back. So then Joe jumps on, and he starts going at it, and I just said, he still has the fire and the passion that I'm a dull ember now. I'm a smoldering, like, charred ember. You can blow on it, it might light up a little bit, but then it kind of just fades away. Out. Again, so thanks for listening. Thanks for tolerating. Thanks for keeping an open mind, and thank you for your time.
The Last of the Nice Guys. Follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter and Instagram at Last Nice Guys, Facebook.com/Last Nice Guys, or email lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com.
This is an audio production of Vibe Revelation Studios, the cure for your common day. VibeRevStudios.com.